Now, and we'll get going. So this week we're focusing on this idea of this concept that's talked about in yoga a lot, this concept of fullness. And I remember someone jokingly saying, "Oh, do you mean when you eat a really big meal?" and I mean, yes, that's the very literal experience of fullness. But then when we think about fullness as how we open up our hearts and allow ourselves to take in those things that are inspiring, or the energy of the people around us that helps lift us up. The interesting thing is sometimes when you spend a lot of energy lifting yourself up with some of these wonderful, whether it's experiences out in nature or spending time with wonderful people, then sometimes there's a fatigue that comes along with that. And I always think of this as an interesting balance. I was just in Wyoming over the weekend and, visiting some friends I hadn't seen in a while, and it was such good energy, and we were rock climbing and hiking, and now I'm tired. Now I'm exhausted. But what I did really lifted me up in my heart and in my soul. And so I think about that balance, and yoga is the wonderful, awesome thing to be able to digest those experiences of creating that fullness for yourself, creating that feeling of completeness for yourself. And so as we step onto our mats, we get to think about, well, how is it that we create more space to be able to keep filling ourselves up? Well, we work through our bodies and we work through our minds. And so let's come to our comfortable seat. And as you find that comfortable seat, think of this as the start of taking good care of yourself. So shift and move, maybe sit up on something with your hips, maybe prop your knees up, whatever you need to do for this to be a comfortable place. And then allow that tilt of your pelvis so your belly can come forward. Rest your hands down, let your eyes close. And as you take a full breath, think of that full breath as a way to start to create space for more fullness, for more completeness, for more understanding of what it is that helps you to feel whole and balanced. Take a deep breath. And then take that time to notice the details. What is it that's kind of left over from your weekend of activity? What are the feelings you have? What are the sensations that are there? Then connect hands together at heart center. And as you gently press your palms together, lift your heart up higher. Take a full deep inhale. And as you exhale, bow toward your heart. Then softly opening your eyes, releasing your hands down, give your shoulders a couple of rolls back. And as you roll your shoulders back, tuck your chin down, starting to check in with the upper back, the shoulders, the neck. And then lift your chin up toward the ceiling, continuing to roll your shoulders back. And then come back to center, long through your spine. Shake your head no. Take right ear over to your right shoulder. Re-engage your left shoulder blade onto your back. Full breath. And then left ear to left shoulder. Re-engage your right shoulder blade and take a full breath. Inhale back up to center. And now with your hands walking up to your knees, let's move through a couple rounds of cat and cow, starting that movement through the low back, through your pelvis, through all parts of your spine. Inhale, belly and heart forward. Exhale, pressing your spine back. And then as you sit tall, bring your left fingertips to the floor right in front of your left knee. And you can even rest your arm against your left leg, right hand to your hip. And as you start to take a little twist to the right side, lengthen your spine first. You can think of tilting your belly a little forward. And then use your low ribs drawing in to help you twist a little bit more to the right. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Maybe stretch your top arm up and over your ear. Full deep inhale and exhale. Then inhale back into center and right fingertips to the floor just in front of your right knee. And again, maybe press your arm right against your leg. Left hand to your hip. Lengthen your spine, long lift through your heart space, tilt your belly a little forward, and then engage your low ribs. As you twist a little to the left, your shoulder blades are on your back. Maybe you stretch your top arm up and over your ear. Take a big breath. And now inhale back into center, switch the cross of your legs. Coming to that less comfortable cross for yourself and shift your sitting bones. Move them back and broad. And then hands right up at your upper thighs, right up at your hip creases. Give a good press down. And from that, as you lift your sides, think of that tilt of your pelvis so your belly is coming forward. Shoulder blades are on your back, ear to shoulder here, checking out whatever's showing up through your neck and tops of shoulders. And then back into center, turn your torso towards your right knee and walk your fingertips forward. Maybe they come out in front of your knee. You can always use something underneath your hands here to lift your hands up a little ways. But find a couple deep breaths here. Inhaling to extend your heart further in that diagonal. Exhaling, maybe you fold a little bit deeper. Or maybe you stay up pretty high. You get to decide what that looks like in your body. Full deep inhale. Long, full exhale. Draw your low ribs in to help you twist just a little bit more over your leg. Instead of trying to twist all the way at your pelvis, it's the ribs and up that are meant to take that twist or really any motion. And now inhale, back up to center, turn your torso towards your left leg, and then walk your fingertips out so that you're taking that fold over your left leg. Maybe your hands come to a prop, maybe they're on the floor, but then long spine, extend. As you exhale, low ribs draw in to help you twist a little bit more. Full big breath. And then inhale back up to center, and now we'll shift forward onto our hands and knees. And from hands and knees, think about setting yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And now inhale, tilt your sitting bones up so your belly is moving down. Shoulder blades are on your back here, so we have a cow-like pose. And then sway hips and shoulders side to side. And then exhale, round upward through your spine, get your chin tucked in, thinking of tilting your sitting bones down, belly lifts, take a full big breath, and again, add that sway side to side through your hips and shoulders. Inhale back into a neutral place, step your right foot forward in between your hands, and we'll come to that first psoas stretch. So now look back at your back knee and work your knee back so that your thigh has a little bit more of a stretch. And then bring your hands up to your knee in front. From here, center off with your hips, bend into your front knee so you have a stacked shin, okay? As you push your back knee down a little bit, think of pulling it a little forward. It's not going to move because it's set on the floor, but that isometric motion or action helps your hip to stay a little lifted. And as you settle a little deeper into your front knee, you can walk your hands to your low back if you'd like to. Push down with your hands and lift up through your sides, lift your chest, lift your heart. Now engage your low belly, so you're supporting your low back here. Take a full, big, deep breath. Then exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat, and we'll work our front leg towards straight, the hamstring stretch that we know and love, our half Hanuman or half monkey pose. Shift your front leg. You can shift your heel a little forward if you'd like, but think about coming to that straight up and down place with your back thigh. Then pull right toes back, right hip wraps back, and send your sitting bones up. Long spine here. Take a full, big, deep breath. As you let your sitting bones lift, slowly rotate your entire leg. It's like you're waving with your foot. Hips stay level even as you turn your leg in the hip socket. Take another full breath. And then bend into your front knee, and now settle back onto hands and knees and then hips to heels. Take a child's pose. And as you find your child's pose, if bending that deeply into your knees is tricky, feel free to stay up higher with your hips, maybe even put a blanket or a bolster underneath your hips in between thighs and calves. Now, as you let your head rest down, take a moment to notice the details of whatever you're working through in your body. Notice whatever space you're creating. Then inhale, rise back up to your hands and knees, and we're stepping left foot forward in between your hands. Back knee can always be on something here. A blanket is always helpful. Might have blocks underneath your hands. Tuck your back toes and inch your back knee back. Walk it back as far as is comfortable, okay? So again, you might get a longer thigh stretch if you walk it back behind your hip. So now center with your hips and bring your hands up to your knee in front and pause here. As you stay bent into your front knee, push your back knee down so that your hip has a little elevation to it. And even think of dragging it forward. Now, as you stay centered with your hips, draw your low belly in, lift your ribs, lift your chest, lift your heart. If you want to, you can bring your hands back to your hips. Press down, lift your sides. And as you open up through your chest, that little bit of a back bend is what stretches that psoas that goes from your low ribs all the way through your hip and into your upper inner thigh. Full big breath. And then go ahead and release your hands down to your blocks, and you're working your front leg towards straight. And maybe shifting your front foot forward here, finding that stacked place for your back thigh. Toes pull back and then wrap your hip back. And as you send your sitting bones up and grow longer through your spine, start that rotation here, slowly turning your leg so that your thigh bone, your femur bone, is moving in your hip socket. Okay, and now bend into your front knee and settle back on the hands and knees. Set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And rotate elbow pits forward and push so you can expand into your upper back. Toes hook under. If you'd like, you can lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And from this place, as you root your hands down strongly, push from lats out through your hands. Bend your knees and tilt your sitting bones up. And now sway a little side to side so you're getting longer from hip to armpit. And now either from your down dog or you can come back onto your knees, step forward, coming into your forward fold. Inhale and lengthen part way, heart forward. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Push back on hips as you lift up and open through your shoulders and then rise all the way up to stand. Feet are inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. And now we're going to do a little balancing. So if you find that balancing next to the wall is better for your body and your mind today, then feel free. We're going to move back and forth between a hip opener and a thigh stretch. So left hand at your hip, shift your weight onto your left foot, evenly root through four corners of your foot. Then pick your right knee up into your hand and take a big breath. Flex your foot, lift your chest. Wrap your right hip down so you'll feel your knee turn a little bit to the right side when you do that. And push further into the ground with your left foot. Even think of squeezing your left glute and lifting your right hip up higher from that squeeze and push. Now open your knee up. Right knee to the right. Lift your chest, lift your heart. Take a big breath. Push down into the floor. Inhale, come back into center, and then slide your hand down your leg. Maybe you take a hold of your ankle and pull your foot behind you. If you fall over, that's okay too. You just let go of your foot and come down, right? If you want to hold on to a wall now, you're welcome to. But from here, even out your thighs. And then if you're like, holding my foot is just too much today, then come to just a bent knee place. Reach through your thigh. Reach it toward the ground. Lift your chest up. Take a big deep breath wherever that is. Tone the low belly. And even think of moving the sitting bones back as you tone the low belly. Reach through your thigh. Lift your chest. One more big breath. Then inhale, release your hand from your leg if you're holding it and bring your knee out in front. Exhale, open it up. Good, inhale, back into center. And then reach down for your heel or your ankle and take that thigh stretch again, okay? So now we're gonna go through those one more time. Release your foot, hold on to your knee in front. Exhale, open it up. Inhale, back to center. Hold on to your ankle and take that thigh stretch, or don't hold on to your ankle, it's okay. Now gently release your foot. Both feet on the ground, take a moment to shake it out and notice we stretched and did some hip opening on the right side, but what's going on your left? Good, okay. Now, right foot balance, left knee into your hand and flex your foot. Push down with your standing foot, lift your chest. Good, take a big breath, wrap your hip down on your left leg so that your knee turns a little more open to the left. And then physically open your knee up. Lift your chest. Take a full breath. Good. Push down into the floor and stand taller. And then come back into center and slip your hand down your shin towards your foot or your ankle and bring your foot behind you. Or again, reach through your knee without holding the foot. That's okay too. Now, move your sitting bones back, engage your low belly, and reach through your thigh. Lift your chest, lift your heart. Good. One more big breath. Good. Then release your foot, bring your knee out in front, lift your chest. Exhale, open it up. Inhale, back into center. Take a hold of your foot, bring it behind you if that's where you are today. Lift your chest. And then release your foot, hold on to your knee, open it up. Good, and then back into center. And then take a hold one more time of your foot if you're going in that direction and lift, open your heart, and then gently release your foot down. And again, shake it out and notice. Yes, we opened up and stretched through the left side, but what is the sensation on the right side? Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel, hands together at your heart. Close your eyes, take a full breath. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold over the legs, knees are bent. Inhale, lengthen part way, heart extends. Exhale, fold over the legs. Plant hands and step back, come into your downward facing dog pose for a moment. And gently bend one knee at a time. Check out the back sides of the legs. As you bend one knee at a time, keep your shoulders steady. Lift your sitting bones up. Then lower both knees down, hips to heels. Take your child's pose, and again, feel free to keep hips more lifted here. A little movement to sway side to side a little. Walk fingertips forward, let your head rest. Take a full, big, deep breath. And then gently push yourself up to your seat, and you can come all the way to your sitting bones, just bringing your legs out in front of you. And knees are bent here, feet flexed, so pull your toes back toward you. Move your sitting bones, and from this place, push down with your heels and draw them back. See if you can notice a little movement of your belly forward when you pull back with your heels. So they're not moving. They are staying set, a little isometric action. As you lift your chest, your heart, start to walk your hands down the outsides of your legs, maybe come to holding onto your feet, maybe hold onto your legs, maybe keep your hands at the ground. But notice a long spine, find that tilt of your belly forward. And from that place, keeping length, maybe inch your feet a little further out, maybe come to more straight with your legs. But notice that tilt of your pelvis. Take a big breath. Keep pressing down with your heels and isometrically drawing them back to help you tilt your pelvis. Then inhale, rise all the way back up, walk your feet in, and then we're gonna take our restorative pose. So come on down onto your back, make sure that you have something to put your hips on. So it might be a big block, might be a stack of books, might be a bolster, but come all the way down onto your back, footprints to the ground. And then as you walk your feet in toward your sitting bones, press your elbows down and inch your shoulder blades a little closer together. And now you get to pick which prop you'd like to put underneath your hips. This is the last of our psoas stretches. So whichever one you would like, we're thinking of getting a long front body. So lift hips on the inhale, set your prop underneath your hips, and in particular, adjust where your hips are so that your sacrum can be comfortable. And then, if it's in your practice, you'll walk your legs out. Arms can be overhead, they can be by your sides, they can be in a cactus, whatever you need. Take a big, full, deep breath and realize that you're never stuck in this pose or any pose. So if it's not comfortable, maybe you walk your feet in. You can always take feet together in butterfly and open the knees up. Find where it feels the most comfortable. Maybe let your eyes close. And take some big, full, deep breaths. Giving your body permission, your mind permission to release, to relax, to let go. Restorative poses are held for a little bit longer. And so as you hold your pose, remember that you can shift, but shift carefully and slowly so that you can find a little bit of stillness and keep it. 3 more deep breaths right here. And then gently walk your feet back in if your legs are still extended. Arms can come back by your sides. Lift your hips up and take whatever you're using for a prop out from underneath. Hips come back down to the ground and then walk your feet out wide. And this is a good counter pose for the back bend we just did. So go ahead and sway your knees side to side gently. Both knees to one side, both knees to the other side a few times. And then bring both knees to the left side. Take a look at your right thigh. Make sure that it is straight ahead from your hip. And then you can use your right hand here if you would like to help lift your hip up a little further. I like to prop my hand right on my glute, right at the back of my hip to help lift my hip, and then reach through the thigh toward the foot of your mat. Big deep breath. And then release the hip, bring the legs over to the left side. And again, check where bring them to the right side. Check where the left thigh is, straight ahead from your hip. If it's aimed more to the right, try to move your leg so that you have this straight ahead place. And then if you would like to, you're lifting your hip and even giving it a prop with your left hand. Elbow can be on the ground, hand right at your glute or slightly above it. Reach through your thigh. Big, full, deep breath. Engage the feet so that you have stable ankles and knees. And then come on back into center with your hips. Drop your knees in together to touch. Hands come to your upper thighs, right at the hip creases, and push your thigh bones away from you so that you have a little tilt of your pelvis. Your belly is lifting, your low back is lifting a little bit. And then a little movement through your pelvis. And take a big breath into your low back muscles. And now as we come to our Shavasana, grab your bolster or pillow or whatever you have to put underneath your legs. And then rest your legs over your prop, which gives a little bit of lift through the upper thighs. It enables the pelvis to find a little more tilt. Take a big deep breath. Start to settle and let your body release, relax, and let go. As you find your Shavasana, allow yourself to be aware of where you've done work, where you've created space, and take a full breath. Begin to take a deeper breath. And start to gently move through fingers and through toes. And as you're ready to bend your knees and roll over to one side. Slowly, gently press yourself back up to your seat. And connect hands together at heart center with your eyes closed and take a full breath, letting your heart space be lifted. Have a very peaceful and a very beautiful day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.